For those of you who don't know, this is Deirdre from Quick Software. I work in the sales and marketing team. I also do a heck of a lot of training. My job today is to show you all about Contra'ring. Now, a quick show of hands. Can you please just tell me, are you all mostly on light? Although I'm going to play more with creditors today, it does not mean that what we're doing today cannot be applied on any GL account. It's literally every single GL account. All right. So Contra'ring, although as I said, it's every single account. I'm playing with creditors because there's normally lots of stuff going on in the creditors module. Right. Now everybody can see my screen. I see I am sharing my screen. So yeah, last time I did almost half a session without a screen. That was like, hello, wakey, wakey. That wasn't a good day, what can I say? Thankfully somebody said to me, your screen, hello. So yeah, the screen's definitely on. I can see it says it's sharing. So you should all be seeing my GL open with my creditors ledger. Now, generally, if you run a creditors ledger, and again, guys, I'm using the word creditors. It doesn't mean it's only creditors. It's just easier for me to explain and show you what I'm talking about, okay? Generally, whenever you print a GL account and we go into browse, you will find every single transaction pertaining to that GL code. In my case, this is my creditors control account for BSP, and you can see that we have a whole lot of information in here. This is my sorting out account. I've got some debits, I've got some credits. Now, at a quick glance, I can see that these transactions all really should tie up and contra each other. So it's nice and it's clear. And they shouldn't be on my recon, if I can put it this way. So most of the times when we do contras, it's keeping the recon in mind so that when we print a creditor's ledger, we can go tell the system, ignore the stuff that's cool and fine and sorted and only show me my problem children. Problem children being A, I need to pay them, or B, if it's maybe in your BSP ADM or BSP creditor account, that you're going to have to go and check why was it not invoiced, was it invoiced incorrectly, was it maybe ADMs, ACMs, that kind of thing. So what Contra does is if we use it the correct way, it'll get rid of all of these transactions for you. It doesn't mean they're not going to display anymore. It just allows you the option of hiding them. And I particularly like it because then you're just left with what you need to attend to. All right, now to do Contra'ring, you're going to go into options, you're going to go down to contra transactions, and then very important, you're going to select the period that you want to run it. Okay, now if you only want to do month by month, that is quite fine. If you're brave like me, you're going to do the whole year, and then very important, at the account you're going to specify the account number that you want to go in contra. And in my instance on this particular, okay, I'm going to play with 800,002. Right, now when I say 800,002, I can then tell the system whether I want to see all my transactions, my fully contraed transactions, or my uncontrad and partially contrad transactions. Now, when I say full and all transactions, if I go do this, and I tell the system that I want to include my unpost batches, it's very important, especially if you're not going to post your batches every single week or every single month, make sure that you have this unposted batches. It must be ticked. Otherwise, if you keep it like this and you have it switched off and you say retrieve, it's just showing you a balance brought forward and you're going to be like, oh my word, I don't think that's right. So if you include it and you retrieve again, it's literally going to come through and give you all the transactions on that particular creditor. Now, some of them you will see is green. And of course, they have a contra reference. Can you see it says contra reference 0001? Now, what it basically means is when we started Contra'ring, we gave these to the exact same contra reference, and it shows us that the total for reference 1 is 0 with 2 items. Okay, now what makes this nice is maybe when you're doing your remittance advice, you've done your recon to your creditors, or you're using this as part of your recon tool in your creditors. This will basically tally up a total for you of what you're going to pay to that particular creditor. In this particular instance, on this example that I'm going to show you now, you will go and you will simply just contra. So let me show you how a normal contra works. And there's a few options for you to work with. The first thing you can do is you can leave it in this date order, which I don't find particularly handy. All right. The second option is for you to sort it in details. So if you double click it, it'll sort it alphabetically. Now, on this particular instance, we were very, very clever. No, actually, we were very stupid, because invoice 47352 means nothing to me. It literally means I have to go into the invoicing module to grab a ticket number for this transaction. And this is again where it comes back to, if you're doing your creditors, it's vitally important that whatever you ever capture under your bank items in here, in your batches, okay, that if you just put in here under details a debit, or you just put in invoice 13, whatever that is, like you can see here. Let's open up this batch so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Guys, invoice 47352 is not going to help you anything if you are looking at your BSP creditor to sort out. Okay, when we're talking about credit BSP, and you have anything that you are paying out of your bank item, maybe you had to send excess baggage that you couldn't do an EMD or whatever the case might be, or you had to pay the airline directly for a change because your system was down. There's many reasons. Please don't come and put in an invoice number in here in details like I just did here. The invoice number is going to mean nothing. What is of importance to you is the actual ticket number or the document number. So especially with BSP, rather put in that document number that you know will appear on your BSP recon instead of the actual invoice number. Okay, because I can promise you I will find matches in here for some of these amounts, but now it's going to say invoice 47352, and I first have to go and verify if that is the real ticket number on the debit side versus the credit side. Okay, so that's just me saying a side note. Be very careful what you capture in the GL. Rather use ticket numbers, especially if it's for BSP. I can understand if you do it for your other creditors, because your other creditors normally will pull in with a invoice number, but because BSP is so big, it pulls in with ticket numbers. All right, so we can sort back in here. I can sort it in a detail order. You've seen I've done date. I can sort it by a reference. So if I double click on the reference, you can see it throws it out in a reference. And again, this reference is not going to help you much if the reference is not the same everywhere. And you will see when I say everywhere, if it's in March and we have the same amount and I've made the reference in my bank item 1366, I'm never going to find it if I look for reference. So the easiest way generally for finding stuff is double clicking on the amount column. And what is so cool is you can see that it gives you debits and credits. Can you see there? So this particular one for 1,171 Rand is an ADM, and it was also fixed in October. It came through as a refund. I don't know, reference we put in was REF, which normally for me is a refund. But the amounts contra, now can you see it's a debit and a credit? So the net effect of this particular transaction would be 0. To contra is quite easy. You can either highlight both. All right, and then tell the system that you want to contra by clicking on contra. Now what the system will do is it'll look if you've already had a reference before, and then it'll suggest that it starts with a new reference. And you can see here, it says start a new reference 222. I want to ask you, please, that reference, only have one reference per payment. don't go, if you have the whole year to play catch up with, okay, please don't go and contra whole 5 months worth of stuff in once, because if something goes out of balance and we don't get that amount back to zero, you've basically just gone and recon lines, millions of lines of stuff, and they don't balance back, especially for your big creditors like your Avises, where you've got lots of car hire, your BSPs, etc. Stick down and do it 1 month at a go. I can almost go one step further and say, if it's any of your BSP accounts that you have to sort out, such as your ADMs, your refunds, and your sorting out account like this, where it appeared on your BSP billing but it was never invoiced, and then you fixed it the next month so it came through, those kind of things, those I would do transaction per transaction, just so that you can keep tabs on the actual ticket number. And then again, this reference becomes super, super important, because I might have the same amount, but it might be for another type of transaction. So yeah, I can either start with the next reference, which is 2, or I can put in my own reference. Now, I know when it's something like a bank item, a lot of people will refer to this reference number in here that's actually on the bank statement, you know, like the 1366. I'm simply going to show you, my system will allow you to put in alphanumerics. Okay, so it will allow you to put in alphanumerics. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Again, it's a personal preference. But if you then want to go on, you can see the system will try and give you a new code. All right, so whether it's 002 or A001, the system's going to try and be as intelligent as possible to try and give you the next OK, which in my case is 1 now. You can see it says 1. All right, if you don't like my references, again, simply go down and change the reference number to whatever you want it to be. All right. Now, once you've done a contra, okay, let's say this was now, let's go into a creditor that actually has got some checks and stuff. 800, I think it's this. Okay, AME. Okay, I've been busy here. Hey, can you see? I've logged a whole lot of things too. All right, if I want to do a payment now, okay, and I want to maybe do a bank reference or something like that, let's say I'm going to recon these two, okay, because it's a debit and a credit. I'm going to enter, and if I want to continue on, I can enter again and tell the system that I want to continue with reference 2. Now, once I've done this, if I want to put in a description here, maybe I want to say something special here for certain passenger or anything, if I double click on that description there, the system will allow me to put in something that I want to say. Quick note, okay, try and make it not too long. You can see this little block here or box here is not too long unless you maximize your contra transactions. And you can just say, check 1, 2, 3, or whatever the case might be. All right, and it will appear then next to that reference. When the description becomes important is if you were doing your creditor's payment, okay, or you were doing your recon, let's say now it's a few months down the line, you've been doing your recon, and suddenly you're out of balance with a few cents. So I'm going to go do something now. I'm going to do some recons, allocations. So I'm going to say that OK and that OK belongs together. Don't worry about my amounts now. I'm just trying to show you some examples. All right, so on this particular instance, you will notice this is reference 3. I can tell the system that I only want to see 3. Remember I said to you earlier on the right-clicking functionality? If I want to see only the stuff with reference 3, and you'll notice here that it says it's got a balance and it's made up of 5 items. If I don't want to see all the 1s and 2 in between, I'm going to go up into transactions, and this time I'm going to change it to the system to say that I want to see only the uncontrad or partially contrad stuff. In other words, the stuff that's cool, don't show it to me, please. And that's what you will probably work in most, is your uncontra transactions. When you do that, my system will then show you at the bottom all your uncontra transactions that still have a balance, as well as the transactions that have a reference in here. And you can see I've got 5, and the balance on there is 1273.60. Now, if you look at this, you can clearly see that I made an overpayment, right, of 1,273 Rand and 60 cents. Okay, so what happened here? Let's say, for instance, I received the clients, or not the clients, I received the supplier's recon. They sent me a statement. I had a look. There were 6 transactions on there. Okay, I did have invoices and I have made payments, but maybe I've forgotten to actually invoice something, but I do need to pay this creditor now. I will still come in here and I will run the contra options as I have here with my overpayment, but I must please put a note in here to say what it is. And I can go in there and say invoice not captured yet. All right, so that's the supplier's invoice, and I haven't captured it yet in invoicing. So it gives me a quick note to see why I have this balance and what my reasoning for the balance was. Obviously, if I do fix it and I've changed it, okay, the system will allow me to go and take the description out. So if once it's all balanced and all good and well to go, I can go and I can take that description out because the total would then be 0. Okay. In the same breath, if I don't want these transactions reconciled anymore, I can go and tell the system to clear my contra references. So instead of me going enter to unreconcile, simply right click and tell the system to clear all contra references. Be warned that if you're in the fully one, at the transaction type, if you're in the full one, the system will undo every single one for you. So only clear if you're in the uncontrad or partially contra transactions. Okay, don't phone me, don't cry. I will feel sorry for you, but not that much because you have been warned. All right. So let's go on. Is there anything else I can contra? I can. You can see I can use multi-select. Remember, shift and your down arrow will do that for you. So if you have any matches and you want to group all of them together, you can do that. So it's not like you have to go enter. Hold shift in, drop down, make it a nice deep dark blue. And when you're ready to contra, hit your enter button and then either decide, do you want to start with a new reference or would you like your own reference? Once you've done that, the system will keep tabs of the number of items that you've contraed. Can you see that? And it will also tell you how many transactions is uncontrad. So at the top it's saying, thank you, Deirdre. You still have 18 uncontrad transactions, and that is the total value of those transactions. Right. Now at this point in time, again, I say to you, I want to get rid of the stuff I've sorted out. I only want to see my stuff. Simply, when it's uncontrad, as you can see here at the top, go back down and say retrieve, and they'll be gone. So you can continue on. Okay. And as you continue on, each one will have a reference. It'll show you a number of items and a balance if you have a balance on that. This looks stupid. It is a bit of time consuming, I'm not going to lie to you, especially if you have a big account. I'm just trying to think who's really big now. Well, that 002 was a big one, wasn't it? Let's go look at BS1. BS1 is Win Main, your BSP creditor. And in here, of course, you will have to go and do your Contra'ring. Now with BSP, it's a bit different because we're not going to work with amounts. You'll agree with me, it does not make any sense. What we will be doing is we will sort this in a date order, because what you will always look for is you'll look for your WTM. You'll agree with me? That is the transactions that actually came through, the movement that came through from invoicing module. You will look for your payments, which is normally in the next month. And you will look for your journal. And I can tell you now there's a problem on there, but that's just me because I quickly saw it. Right. So as you go along, they've clearly noticed this transaction was a cash transaction, just in case you're wondering why I'm saying that. Somebody did this as a cash transaction into BSP. It should actually all be in one big total. And you can see on other months it does that. When we do BSP training with you next week, I think that's Sylvia that's going to host that for you. She will explain all these things and how we quickly spot stuff and how we know stuff. All right. Right. Now, a lot of people have said to me, Deirdre, is it possible for me to have a partially contra transaction that happens in this year, and then because of the financial year end, what will happen to it next month? So transactions like these, where we get the 868,000 Rand for BSP, you'll agree with me, that transaction from W to M will always come through. And we don't always pay the creditor the same month. We normally pay them the next month because we've got 30-day terms, whatever the case might be. My suggestion to you would be not to try and partially contra something if you know it's going to be in the next year. Go do that full contra transaction in the next year with the brought forward balance that comes in. Okay. In the same breath, when we talk about contras, if you have a whole heck, a lot of entries here, let's say all of these need to go because they form part of my closing balance for the year and they haven't been paid, they're only going to be paid next year. If you want this line item information as opposed to just a balance, as you can see here at the top of 880,000 Rand, okay, my suggestion to you would be to take this and create a journal with it in the new GL where you're going to reverse that big total of 888,000 and you will come and put in all these individual lines. And I'll show you how we're going to do those things next week because that's all about importing journals and creating them and those stuff. I'll specifically focus on that because a lot of people don't want just the brought forward balance. They still want the open items as they appear in here. Okay, so we'll do that next week. Now, Contra'ring, as I said, is cool. It's nice. It's really, really handy, and I'll show you now. I'm just going to quickly try and, whoops, that okay is far out. Do this. So I can show you what it does. Now, if you were in my earlier session, you would have seen me play with Contra'ring and making a big hoo-ha about how important it is and I love it and why I love it and why you should love it. And shame, yeah, you probably thought, just this poor woman, she gets excited about very small things. Okay. Here you can see on this transaction, there was a total. If I go back in here and I say all transactions, and I retrieve, you will see there's a total of 28 transactions in here, some of which are contrad and some of them are uncontrad. Now, again, it's not just applicable to creditors, it's to any GL account. If I come into my creditors ledger and I do a report now on 800 BS1 to 800 BS1 and I do a normal browse, okay, what is going to happen is I'm still going to see all 28 transactions in here. Okay. If I use my magic option, because I've now done all this Contra'ring, and I tell the system that, listen here, I want you to apply my contra options for me. Okay. And I tell the system to show me my contra reference column, as well as hide my fully contra transactions. And you'll agree with me, a fully contra transaction is a transaction that has a zero amount in here after the contra has happened. If I do that, oh, I didn't hide, did I? Oh, it's lekker blond vandag. Julle, time to go home, except I'm at home. I don't know what my excuse is. Okay. You can see how that ledger went from the 28 lines down to the 2. Now these 2 will either form part of your remittance advice to BSP the next time you pay them, or they will become your reconcilable items that you need to go and attend from. Contra'ring, very important. In my life, Contra'ring is probably the most important thing. I know I'm boring and I have nothing better to do, but it just makes it easier. And of course, if your auditors have any questions, it's far easier for you to see what was paid with what. You know, here you can see if the auditor is saying, listen here, I want to know what this payment was for, what did it cover, this 1260, payment reference 1260, for a total of 180. If I use my Contra'ring and I have to print anything like this by saying that, immediately if I give this to my auditor, he will see there's my payment and there's the transactions that's linked to it. So immediately you can give him a baby recon, if I can call it that. Okay. I know you were hoping that this is going to be an hour and a half, but I don't think you really want to see me contra forever and a half. But that's basically what Contra'ring is all about. Now, the good news is Contra'ring is not, as I said earlier to you, only limited to a creditor account. I can also apply it to an income account. All right, and you will see there's all your debits and credits. I don't think we're going to contra much here, but it's just to show you. We can do rent. It's literally any account in the GL can be contraed. All right. It's also handy maybe if you're doing provisions and those kind of things, you can come through here and you can go contra those provision accounts. I think mine was 820. I hope my memory's, oh, no, clearly not. Provisions and accruals. There we go. So you can go and clear out your provisions and accruals just to make sure that you've done the necessary journals that you were supposed to do, those kind of things. Okay. Any questions, anybody? Anything you want to say? Any suggestions? Would you use it? Wouldn't you use it? Do you think it's kind of a time waster?
I have a question.
Daniel, I didn't even see you here. Hello, Daniel, again.
Hello. If you want to sort your contract...
Hold on. Sorry, let me just get rid of my dog barking. Sorry, she's making too much noise. Guys, DEFCON 1 here, hey? DEFCON 1. This dog is like seeing something. I'm not sure what. It's probably a gecko or bird. And now she's like, the bird needs to be killed immediately. Sorry, Daniel. Yes.
No problem. Say you're in your contra account. Now you sort it by date or amount or reference or whatever. Is there a way that you can say, okay, I want to sort it by amount, then reference, then date, and then whatever?
Okay, so we're sorting by amount, and then we're saying, okay, I want to have date, and then we can have reference.
So
dragging and dropping. Dragging and dropping, as with everything in all our registers. Select what order you want it. So if I don't want date, I want details. Simply drag and drop. Okay. Keeping in mind the system is not going to do too many sub sortings for you, but it will try and do a something for you. Okay.
Perfect.
Any other questions? Contra'ring is really to aid you when your auditors come and they want questions. I think that's what the biggest thing is about a contra. If your auditor walks in and he's like, show me where this thing is, show me the audit trail. I hate those lines, but we have to all do them at year end. Show me the proper audit trail of this bank item that you have here for 108 Rand for Travelsoft. Well, okay, so then if you have your contras on, you can say this and this and this is linked to this. And if it has a WTM in there, you can say, okay, back into WTM, here's your invoice, da-da-da-da. Take your stuff, now go away. Leave me alone. Okay. Anything else?
One more question.
Yes.
In the full main, you can get a recon so that you can give your creditors what you're paying. Is there any way we can do this in the light but in the general ledger? So in other words, you contra, say, for whatever, you know what I mean? You've got an outstanding balance on your contra account. You want that to print out and send that to the creditor.
I'm going to say all I can suggest is, oh, sorry, don't know why, whatever. Okay, I would just print out that creditor's ledger and apply contra options right through.
Okay.
Use this is, but now remember, when I say printing, Deirdre is not referring to printing to a real piece of paper. I'm browsing. Okay, my browser, my print's my exact same thing. Okay. you would be
What I'm
browsing.
doing is Contra'ring, but then I'm doing another Excel recon for it.
No, don't. Try and get it in here and then exporting it in here, and then if you have to do a RA, then yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Okay,
remember,
good.
this can be in Excel, so you can just copy paste from here and send it through to the creditor and say, I've paid you now, shush. In the same breath, what I do know a lot of people are doing is, but that's on full win main, where you can import the recon. I wish our GL did that, but it doesn't. But full win main will allow you to import that recon from Avis, provided we can get it into Excel or whatever we need. And then it will allow you to do that payment allocation story. Unfortunately, GL does not. This is your best bet at this stage. Okay, if you want development, guys, you know, the more people who ask for it, the bigger the demand. The bigger the demand, the more quickly they must do stuff. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I'm going to delete this off the recording.
Please.
I'm going to delete this from the recording. I never said this. Okay.
Okay.
Yolandi, I will upload the recordings, my lady, so that you can go and listen to them. Okay. We'll send out mass emails as soon as I've done that. It will be unedited once, so this will probably be on YouTube somewhere, but we will send out recordings. Any other questions? Do you think this is a time waster? Do you think, can you see the benefit of having the contra transactions? A lot of people are like, oh, I don't think I should go into it. But do you? Would you?
I definitely use it.
Good, Danielson. Good. Nushin, I think you're just nice, but thank you very much. Hey? I don't think so. I think I'm now at the point where I'm sounding very boring. I'm like, you need to up your, but yeah, next week's another week. Okie dokes, everybody. No more questions? Now's your chance. If you don't ask now, I'm going to assume you know everything. It does not have to be contra related. If it's something else in the GL you want to quickly ask, as a side note, you're welcome to do so. Otherwise, I'm going to say cheerio. Final offer. I should sound like those people on the
Bye.
Hey, bye, you going? Bye. Daniel, why did you send me easy shuttle invoices? Do you want me to do an invoice? Daniel! Bye, everyone.
Developers to show them that we need
No,
Contra'ring.
babes, you sent me a love letter. Love letters work. I'm not going to show them a group chat because they'll be like, I'm not going to go watch the whole movie. So you send me a love letter, Scuts.
I'll
Send me
send you a
one.
love letter shortly.
Okay. I'll say I've saved this, but send me a love letter because I forwarded on to the powers that be. All right.
Okay, perfect.
Bye, everybody. Take care. Until
Bye.
next
Good
week.
afternoon.
And you too, all of you. Stay warm, stay safe. Cheerio.
Bye, Deirdre.
And
Bye.
you'll be available, D.
Hey, what did you say, Tawana?
You will be there too.
Yeah, sorry, GL is my baby this week. The only sessions I'm not doing next week is Sylvia said she'll do BSP recons, but all the others you are stuck with me. Sorry for you.
Hey, okay, thank you.
Okay then. Take care. Have a
Cheers.
good one. Bye.